Hello, Goodson Guitars here. Today this is video number 2. We're going to be doing the refinish on the Les Paul we talked about in the last video. This was originally the Gothic series, matte black, murdered out, I guess you could say. The owner had it refinished and this is what he asked for. He got it back. He didn't really care for the finish too much, and there are some issues with it. So he wants me to strip it back down, go back to matte black. So that's what we're going to do today. So first thing we need to do is get started by taking it apart. We'll get going on that right now. Okay, the guitar's been taken apart. We pulled the bushings for the bridge because they were going to actually be in the way for the sanding process. We're going to start out with a orbital sander, probably an 80 grit pad to get the bulk of this knocked off. Then we'll move up to 120, 220 to get all those heavy scratches out. And then we'll probably hit it with 320 by hand to clean up this arch and the carve in the body. And then we'll start getting ready to prep it for the new finish. So let's go ahead and get started. I was just gonna sand this thing down and then come back in with the video and show y'all it was sanded and everything. But when I started, that's when I realized how thick this was put on here, and so I wanted to show y'all. I'm having to take this off with a heat knife just because it is so thick. It would have taken me hours and hours and hours to sand on it. So I learned a few years ago that if you got polyurethane and you put a little heat to it, it'll come right off, which it is. It's coming off easy. But that brings me to nitrocellulose lacquer versus the polyurethane debate, which I'm not going to get into that debate. What I'm trying to show you is that it doesn't matter what finish you use. In my opinion, it's how thickly it's applied. And my customer told me that when he got this back, it changed the tone. And now I can see why he would say that, and I actually believe that it probably would have, because there are places that I can see where this finish is probably a good 3/16 of an inch thick, and that's just it's way too thick. So you need to put them on thick enough that they're going to be durable. But I mean, you just don't want it that thick, because you encase a wood instrument in 3/16 to an 1/8 inch of plastic, it's going to change the way it sounds. It is. Okay, so what we have now is the guitar has been completely sanded down. It's taped off. I've put sealer in the places that it needed it. So what we're going to do at this point is I'll shoot a coat of primer on the guitar. That'll reveal any imperfections. I'll get those fixed, then we'll shoot another coat, and then we'll start with the base coats and work our way up to the matte. I've done a test strip of the process we're going to use. There's some ridges in there. I didn't sand it that smooth because it was a test, but it's giving me that matte look that I want. So at this point, we're ready to start shooting. Okay, we got it sprayed, and now we're back to matte black. We've got it reassembled. Some of the things that I want to talk to you about real quick is when you're spraying a matte finish, it's a one-shot deal. You really can't go back in and sand and buff, because then one or two things are going to happen. Either the sheen's not going to match where you've sanded if you had a run or something of that nature, and the other thing is when you start buffing on it, it's going to turn into a gloss finish. So you pretty much got to nail it the first time. I didn't. This was the second go round. The other problem we had is when we put the water slide on for the Gibson decal, it wasn't finishing out right, so I had to order another one. So when that gets in, we'll get the guitar back and do that. But the owner wants to get it back. It's matte black. I can tell there's a tonal difference already. It seems to be louder and not as muffled. So we're going to give it back to him and see how things go. I appreciate y'all watching, and y'all stay tuned for more videos. Go ahead and like and subscribe.